Check the cross. 641 there. 641 41 I didn't know response. 630.
Hey, how you doing, Singer?
Good. 40 Avenue, D. 7 boys, okay. 23 York Street, 86. 86, 1 boy, 2K.
Captain looking for you, Holmes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know, sir. On my car. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be right there. Bye. Hi, Harry.
Morning, Watson. Oh, this is Mr. Klinger.
How do you do?
Hello?
Now, you understand that the judge released you on your own recognizance, only on the condition that you cooperate with a psychiatric social worker. This is Ms. Watson.
Oh, just call me Doc. Everybody does.
Doc,
We're going to work very hard and solve your problem, okay?
your place or mine?
Mine. Here's my office address. Monday, 9 o'clock sharp. See you later, Harry.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Oh. Hi.
Sherman.
Sorry.
Hi.
Hi, Doc.
What are you doing in there? Trouble with the captain again?
Yeah, he gave me a week's suspension.
What happened?
I misplaced the robbery suspect.
Sherman, maybe you don't belong in police work.
Oh, I never wanted to be a motorcycle cop. You know, I always wanted to be a detective. I mean, my name's Holmes. Like in Sherlock, you know?
The complete Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I've been studying his work very closely. You know, his powers of observation and detection, he's really brilliant.
Sherman, in 9 years, you've been transferred to every division in the department. Have you ever thought that being a criminologist requires a certain type of mind?
Oh, yeah, you're so right. Yeah. At least I have that in my favor, huh? See you, Doc.
All right, Watson. We've got our case, one of the most remarkable in our collection. Dear me, how slow, but...
Hey, that's okay, officer. We'll take care of it for you.
Oh, yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, wait a minute!
Oh, boy.
Jimmy, how's your wife?
She's having an atherectomy. I'm picking her up now.
Oh, listen, would you give her my regards? And tell her I'll see her. Oh, Sherman, hi.
Oh, hi, Doc.
Did you get your motorcycle back?
Oh, yeah, they gave me a new one.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And a new assignment, too.
What's the assignment?
I'm on park duty.
Sherman,
No, it's
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Gives me more time to read.
Sherlock Holmes drew a long breath. I should have more faith. I don't know by this time. When a fact appears to be opposed to a long train of deductions, it invariably proves to be bearing of some other interpretation. Boy, I tell you, that guy...
gentlemen, we'll review this Holmes case. As you will recall, it's the one where the police officer suffered brain damage when his motorcycle fell on his head. Dr. Collins?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're ready for your review of the Holmes case. Do you have the paperwork?
Yes, doctor. As you will recall, it's a classic case of schizophrenia. His condition has stabilized for the past 3 months. The patient has lost all touch with reality. He fully believes that he is Sherlock Holmes.
Has he responded at all to treatment?
No. In fact, his fixations become even stronger.
In line with your rather negative presentation, Doctor, why do you feel this panel should release him from the hospital?
Okay. Number one, in my opinion, Holmes is quite harmless. Number two, we're unlikely to make any progress with him. And three, as you know from the report, he receives disability pay, so he will be self-supporting. Besides, the hospital is overcrowded.
This Ms. Watson, the psychiatric social worker who wrote this letter, is this the young lady here?
Yes, sir.
In your request for Holmes's release, you've asked that he be placed on your personal caseload. May I ask why?
Well, Sherman was a friend of mine, and he had a lot of problems adjusting to the police department. Well, maybe I should have been more help.
According to this file, you're the one who sent him the Sherlock Holmes outfit.
Yes.
As a psychiatric social worker, are you in the habit of encouraging patients' delusions?
No, Doctor, I am not. But since no one can cure him, I think he needs the support of a friend.
Ms. Watson, I think you very well may be right. Dr. Collins, you may make preparations for the patient's release.
Yes, sir. You may be surprised how much he's become like that famous detective.
Really?
It's quite remarkable. Not altogether unusual. The brain, like the body, sometimes develops extraordinary powers in one area when another's destroyed. As a matter of fact, your Mr. Holmes has exhibited some astonishing deductive powers. Yet I understand he was a very inefficient policeman.
Oh, boy.
There are two of you behind me. A gentleman and a lady, I surmise. There's an audible difference between the sound of ladies' shoes and gentlemen's shoes moving on wet pavement. The former a mincing step, and the latter more of a clump. Especially when the gentleman's shoes are crepe-soled, which further prompts me to assume that the gentleman is a member of the staff, for they all wear crepe soles on their rounds. Now, since the staff dinner serving has just begun in the dining room, and the only one who is privileged to have dinner served privately before his colleagues is the chief of staff, I presume I have the honor of being accosted by Dr. Collins.
Quite right, Holmes.
The lady, however, mystifies me. Her footsteps are unfamiliar to me. I don't believe we've met. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
How do you do?
Please excuse the deductive demonstration, but the mind, like the muscles, atrophies unless it is constantly exercised.
It was fascinating.
Yes, and useless. I should be devoting my powers to combating the forces of evil, but I'm confined here against my will due to the machinations of that arch-villain Moriarty.
Well, I think you can anticipate an early release, Holmes, and you'll probably be seeing a good deal of Miss Watson over here. Watson?
Dr. Watson?
Oh, no, just Doc.
Oh, please forgive me. I've been in such a state I didn't even recognize you. My devoted biographer.
Well, here I am. Devoted.
Yes, yes.
I'll go and process the release papers.
Watson.
Holmes, don't you remember anything about the accident?
It was no accident, Watson. Moriarty and his henchmen fell upon me from behind.
Oh.
But he's lost. You and I shall continue our work. You have transportation?
I have a car.
Good, good. Pick me up here tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock sharp.
Holmes, any idea where we're going?
Where else, Watson? My flat on Baker Street. See you then. Yes, here we are. 221 Baker Street.
That'll be flat B.
Yes, of course.
I'll go see.
I'll go too.
Holmes, why don't you look and see if there's another Baker Street on the map? I mean, we might have the wrong one.
You seem nervous, Watson.
I'm not nervous.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Quite?
Oh, yes. I'm anxious for you to get settled, as you are.
Ah, well. If it'll ease your mind, I'll take a look at the map, although I don't think I'll find anything new. South Pasadena, Alhambra, San Gabriel, Monterey. San Gabriel. Yes, as in go blow your horn, I suppose. I don't remember San Gabriel. It doesn't sound very British to me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a friend who wants to rent apartment B.
$110 a month. The utilities are on him.
Oh, that's okay. There is one problem, and I think you should be aware of it.
What?
He thinks he's Sherlock Holmes. Literally.
You mean he's a psycho?
Oh, no. He just has this one little small delusion.
No problem. No vacancies.
Oh, please. He's very nice, really. You would probably love him. He's cheerful, and he's here. Look, he thinks that I'm his Dr. Watson, and he won't live any place but here, and he's going to be sure that you're Mrs. Hudson.
Who?
Mrs. Hudson, the landlady at 221 Baker Street in the Sherlock Holmes stories. He needs to be humored, and if he isn't, I don't know what's going to happen to him. Please. This is Sherlock Holmes.
And I'm Mrs. Hudson.
Yes, of course you are. And looking rather fit, I might add.
Thank you.
However, I would suggest that you stop missing breakfast. It's a very important meal, and to begin the day without it is very unhealthy.
How did you know I didn't have breakfast?
Oh, from this tiny pink speck on your cheek. If you'd had breakfast, you would have dabbed it off with your napkin. And since I know of no foodstuff this particular shade of pink, I can only deduce that it is a toothpaste.
No kidding. He's right.
Yes, naturally. Oh, Miss Hudson, I seem to have misplaced my key. Would you be so kind as to open the door to my flat?
Sure.
Diabolical. Absolutely diabolical.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, nothing. It's fine, really. Thank you.
Well, I want the first and last month in advance.
We'll take care of it. Bye.
I was right, Watson. There's not a trace of anything that was mine. My laboratory equipment, my books, none of them are here. Moriarty tried to erase the very essence of Sherlock Holmes. Well, he's lost again.
Holmes, I'm sorry, but I have to check in at the office. I'll come back as soon as I can to help you get settled in.
Watson, as you know, I'm not given to fawning maudlin sentiment, but I do want to thank you for everything you've done.
That's okay. Can I get you anything?
Yes. Have you pen and paper? There are a few odds and ends.
Ready?
I'll need a catalog for laboratory equipment. Complete set of Encyclopedia Britannica. A fingerprint kit, a magnifying glass, and a gas outlet for the Bunsen burners over there. And a microscope. The type preferred by pathologists.
Anything else?
No, that should do it for now.
Well, I'll get right on it, as they say.
Good show. Oh, Watson. A violin.
A violin.
You're a little late. I was afraid you weren't going to show. But I don't mind waiting.
Mr. Spiner.
Good morning.
Sorry I'm late. You must be, Mrs. Slater and Ralph. Now, Ralph, your probation officer tells me something's disturbing you.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, is he all right?
Sure. Leave him alone. He'll come around. Happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
Yes, I'm sure. May I speak to you a moment, please? I've wanted to see you since we opened this morning, but, well, it seems that you're a trifle late.
Listen, excuse me.
No sweat.
Mr. Spiner, I'm terribly sorry I was late this morning. It's just that I had a lot of things to do before I came into the office, and the time just sort of got away from me, and...
How was the vacation?
Oh, fine. Good. Very good.
Office gossip says you spend most of your time with the patient. Number 220-2472, one Sherman Holmes, who thinks he's Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, well, yes, I spent a little time just helping him get settled in, you know.
Does that explain the items you requisition from county supplies? Books, test tubes, chemicals?
Oh, that's part of his therapy.
You know we have a standing policy about any of our people getting too personally involved in a case.
I know that. I won't forget it.
Neither will I. Your case is coming, too, over there.
Take your time. Now he's got me running errands for him. I gotta go down to the drugstore and get him a syringe.
A syringe? Mrs. Hudson, I think that's humoring him a little too far.
Not for cocaine, silly. For his vitamin B shots. The doctors prescribed them. Goodbye, Doc.
Bye.
Come in, Watson. Ah, how very nice of you to drop by.
How did you know it was me?
Oh, lucky guess.
Really? That was a lucky guess?
Well, not altogether. It was definitely a delicate lady's knock, not a man's. And I notice you wear a silver friendship ring on your right ring finger. The sound of metal on wood is quite distinctive.
But it could have been your landlady.
Ah, yeah, Mrs. Hudson's fingers are covered with rings, all set with stones. She'd never chance knocking with them and jarring one loose from its setting. And you are the only two ladies likely to knock on my door.
That's a pretty impressive deduction.
But vain tomfoolery, nevertheless. We shall put our minds to more challenging and fruitful problems. Crime is rampant, and the game is afoot, Watson.
What?
Have you seen the morning paper?
Yes.
Anything strike you as odd?
No more than usual.
My dear Watson, surely you read of the death of one Edward Kegel.
The embezzler?
Yes, it appears he lost control of his car on Mulholland Drive late yesterday afternoon. Drove to his death over an embankment.
Yes, I read that story.
Then you also read that Kegel was out on bail awaiting trial under suspicion of having juggled the books of the Fidelity National Bank where he worked as an auditor.
He was supposed to have stolen $500,000, wasn't he?
Yeah, which is why he's out on bail. The police, the district attorney, the bonding company, and the insurance people were all hoping that he would lead them to the money. Or at least make a deal to return it in return for a lighter sentence. I don't think it was an accident. I think Kegel was murdered.
The coroner's preliminary report says that Kegel died as a result of multiple injuries in the accident.
A double presumption. Neither one necessarily accurate. He may have died of multiple injuries, but it was definitely not an accident. Allow me to show you. Except with this. Now, according to the newspaper, this photo was taken as the car door was opened by the fire department rescue squad. You see, observe the seat adjustment latch. The slides underneath show that it was in a fully extended position.
So?
Well, later in the story, you will note that Kegel was known as Shorty to his intimates, being a scant 5 feet tall. Now, I visited a dealer in this make of car this morning while you were in your restaurant having your pancakes. And he said that it wouldn't be possible...
How did you know I had pancakes?
Oh, Well, your handling of the newspaper suggests sticky fingers, which in turn opens up the possibility of your having handled a syrup dispenser. And they are generally messy in restaurants. Of course, there could be another explanation, but with my head so close to yours, I smelled a distinct odor of maple. Yes, but let's get back to more important matters, shall we? I am a full foot taller than the deceased, and I would have to slide the seat back in order to comfortably reach the accelerator and the brake pedals.
Well, maybe the seat was shoved back in the crash.
You will observe, if you will use that glass, that the latches show no damage. And a car coming to an abrupt stop at the bottom of that ravine would cause a forward and not rearward inertia. As a matter of fact, the coroner attributes Kegel's massive skull fracture to the impact of his head against the windshield. He was not wearing his seat or his shoulder belt.
What do you think happened?
That somebody else, a taller somebody else, was in the car with Kegel. That this someone killed him or rendered him unconscious, pushed his body aside, adjusted the seat to accommodate his own length, drove up to the edge, parked, put Kegel's body back behind the wheel without readjusting the seat, got out, and sent the car over to the rim of the canyon with Kegel in it.
It's interesting, Holmes, but it is a bit thin.
Quite so. We shall see if we can thicken it.
Where are you going?
I assume your car is outside?
Yeah?
Then we are going. For some reason or other, I'm denied a driver's license. Probably a machination of Moriarty. He has connections everywhere.
Where are we going?
To the police impound lot, where I understand they've towed Kegel's car. We may learn a thing or two more when we examine it. Are you coming?
Oh, yeah.
I ain't supposed to let just anyone prowl around this lot, except in the owners of the vehicles.
Well, my good man, the owner of the Kegel vehicle is Mr. Kegel. Mr. Kegel is quite dead. I'm investigating the circumstances.
What is he doing? Who does he think he is, anyway?
Listen, I've got a friend at police headquarters, and I'll call up and I'll get permission, okay?
Yeah, sure, you do that.
Could I use your phone?
Yeah, right in that shack over there.
Hello.
Holmes, my friend said no.
Oh, pity. However, no need to tarry here any longer.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, the show's over. Let's go. Let's move it now. Come on, folks, let's go home. This is a busy area. You're blocking traffic. Let's move it. Come on, folks. Let's move it.
Manny!
Show's over.
Manny! Hi, have you seen Lieutenant Tinker?
He's around here somewhere.
Oh.
Let's go, folks. Let's move it. Let's go. Let's move it now. Come on, folks, let's go home.
Lieutenant Tinker!
Let's move it.
Hi, Doc.
Hi, what's going on?
Bomb scare. Third one this month. Thank God they were only smoke bombs.
Doesn't make the detective force look so hot, does it? I mean, 3 in a month at headquarters?
Why are you giving me the needle, Doc, huh? Is it because of that certified lunatic Holmes? And you know I love that Sherman like a brother. Is it because I wouldn't let him run around that impound yesterday?
Lieutenant, please, don't get so excited. I wasn't implying that you were in any way inefficient or that your arrest record for the past 6 months is at all in question.
Well, I hope not, because believe me, Doc, I got enough trouble right now.
Don't worry, Lieutenant. Once you crack the Kegel murder case, you'll feel much better.
What Kegel murder case?
The embezzler.
Kegel was killed in a car accident.
Kegel was murdered.
Says who?
Sherlock Holmes.
Gotta be out of my skull coming over here to discuss a case with Sherman Holmes. What's that?
Lieutenant, without him, you'd never have a case. And the name is Sherlock.
Come in.
Holmes. Holmes.
Oh, do fix our guest a libation, if you please, Watson.
Libation?
No, thanks, Doc. My stomach's on the bellmop, but just a scotch on the rocks.
I've never known a policeman to decline alcohol off duty. And since this will be your friend, Lieutenant Tinker, who you called upon earlier today, then he must be off duty, since I've also never known a policeman of rank to work 2 shifts.
I thought you said he couldn't remember anybody.
Whatever you're talking about, sir. I've never seen you before in my life.
Oh, then how'd you know I was a cop?
Because you're not carrying an umbrella.
Huh?
Because you're quite dry, sir. The only way you could have entered this building in this storm without getting drenched would have been underneath the canopy that leads from the entrance to the curb. To do so without being exposed to the elements will require that you park adjacent to the canopy, slide across the seat of your car, and disembark out the passenger door.
Well, that's the way I disembarked.
Yes, quite so. And since that portion of the curb is a white no parking zone, I venture to suggest that only a policeman would leave his car there without fear of being cited. I presume you've come to hear further of my theory?
Yeah, the doc here did mention a couple...
I'll just get your drink.
Yeah, the doc here did mention a couple of things that... You know, kind of caught my ear, so I thought I'd drop by and see what's what.
Ah, good. But what she didn't tell you, since I've only concluded it myself, was that the embezzler, Kegel, on the day of his demise, rang up his murderer and made an appointment to meet him. The call was placed from a car wash.
Car wash?
At the impound lot, I found Kegel's credit card receipt for a fill-up and a car wash late yesterday afternoon at the West Valley Car Wash. That is most likely where Kegel made the call to his killer. Please, Lieutenant, won't you sit down and relax?
Oh, I don't mind. No, I don't mind at all. Listen, this is kind of an interesting place you got here. I mean, it's really different. Really different. Listen, how did you figure that?
Figure what, Lieutenant?
Kegel making the phone call.
Ah, because he needed change.
What change?
While Watson was with you, I went to the car wash. The cashier remembered Kegel because he was such a nervous little fellow. He asked for change for $1 to use the payphone.
But the cashier...
Lieutenant.
Thanks. The cashier didn't know who he talked to.
No, but I suspect that whoever it was agreed to meet him.
But how do you know he met anybody?
Because I found this in the ashtray of Kegel's car.
A cigar butt?
Yes. The people at Fidelity National Bank, where Kegel worked, say he was a non-smoker. So that had to be put in the ashtray by somebody else after the car was washed, because they always clean out the ashtray. I also checked out the gas tank on the wrecked car. It was still nearly full, so I concluded that Kegel couldn't have driven any further than the distance from the car wash to that spot on Mulholland Drive, which is only a few miles.
I got you.
Huh?
Kegel could have driven a couple of 100 miles after the car wash, then refilled the tank. Simple as that.
Well, I thought of that, too. But I checked the time Kegel was at the car wash and the time the car was discovered, and there wouldn't have been enough.
Enough what?
Time, Tinker, time.
This is all typical amateur sleuthing.
Sherlock Holmes has always been something of an amateur, inasmuch as he rarely got paid.
I see the lieutenant needs further convincing. Perhaps this will do it. You'll follow me, sir?
What?
Take a look through this.
Where?
The microscope.
Here?
Yes.
What is it?
I've concluded that the murderer strangled Kegel with the automobile's shoulder belt, and shreds of the yarn from around his tan turtleneck sweater clung to it.
Lieutenant, what was Kegel wearing when you found the body?
Tan turtleneck sweater.
What do you think the lieutenant should do next?
I suggest the lieutenant order another autopsy. Not a routine one this time. We must make absolutely certain that Kegel was strangled before the crash.
It's time to go, Lieutenant. Lieutenant? Are you all right?
Are you kidding, Doc? Do you realize what the chief would do to me if he found out I was taking that fruitcake in there seriously?
Lieutenant, the real Sherlock Holmes wanted anonymity. So does this one. You'll get all the credit.
Credit? I'll get busted for this.
Or make captain.
I'll talk to the coroner.
Good idea.
Hi, Harry.
Some guy's waiting for you in your office.
Right.
You are Lieutenant Tinker?
Yeah, who are you?
I am a person who likes to talk to a person who likes to listen.
I'm listening.
I understand that you are investigating the Kegel murder case. Is that correct?
What about it?
I have some very interesting information for you.
Well, let's have it.
Lieutenant, I did not say this information would be without a price, huh?
Yeah.
Ms. Watson is here, Lieutenant.
What?
Oh, good. Send her in, please. I ask her to come. Just give me a moment. I'll rid myself of these.
Holmes.
Yes, of course.
Send her in.
Forgive the deception, Lieutenant. I often use disguise in my work.
Oh, yeah?
I don't feel too bad, Lieutenant. He fooled me, too.
Oh, since you didn't contradict me a moment ago when I referred to Kegel's murder, I take it that the autopsy confirmed my suspicions.
Yeah, Kegel was strangled, all right. Doc, shut that door, will you?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Well, I don't mean that it's wonderful that he was strangled, but it's wonderful that Holmes was right.
Did you doubt it?
No, I didn't. I'm just glad that the police are finally coming around.
Well, we're not only coming around, we're also very busy, so if you two will excuse me,
Oh, yes, of course, Lieutenant. You have a very difficult case on your hands. All we know about the killer is that he's a very tall man and uses a cigar holder.
Hold it, Holmes. Shut that door. Come back in here. Come back in here.
I beg your pardon.
What cigar holder?
Oh, surely you noted that the cigar stub I gave you had no teeth marks.
Sure.
The lieutenant wouldn't miss a clue like that.
No, of course not. Oh, by the way, Lieutenant, the cigar a man smokes is a Barcelona. Or at least that was what he was smoking when he got into the car with Kegel.
How do you know that?
Oh, I've made quite a study of the various blends of tobacco. Indeed, I'm preparing a small monograph on the subject for the next edition of the Britannica. Would you be so kind?
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you. Yes. I retained a leaf of the stub I gave you, and I can assure you it is a Barcelona.
Well, this is it, huh?
Fairly expensive brand. 75 cents each, or 3 for $2. Now, although costly, Barcelonas are very popular and widely used, and I doubt that the clue will be of much help in pinpointing our man, though it may confirm the rascal's identity in our own minds, if not in court when we finally nab him.
Well, you seem pretty sure of yourself.
Oh, we'll get our man, Lieutenant, in due time. No villain has eluded me, except, of course, Moriarty. Meanwhile, you'll proceed on the basis of the only obviously logical theory.
The only obviously logical theory.
Yes. This afternoon, I made inquiries at the bank where Kegel worked. I was disguised as a mortician.
Oh, come on, Holmes. You don't mean to tell me you went over there in that get-up?
Oh, no, certainly not. This is my suspicious character disguise. Huh. Well, I learned that Kegel had no family and few friends. He was what I believe you people call a loner. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Now, since embezzlers of his stripe rarely have a confederate simply because they don't need one, and since he was under considerable pressure from many sources to disclose the whereabouts of the $500,000 he stole in exchange for amnesty, I think we may presume he's done so.
Done what?
Talked, Tinker, talked.
Talked to who?
Whom, Lieutenant, whom? The police should set an example to the general public in all things, including grammar.
All right, Holmes, whom?
To whoever murdered him. Perhaps to a representative of the insurance company, or perhaps to an official of the bank, or a member of the district attorney's office, or if you will excuse me, perhaps to a police lieutenant. I must confess I'm relieved to note from the absence of nicotine stains on your fingers that you are a non-smoker.
What you mean is, whoever Kegel told where he hid the money killed Kegel?
That, I believe, is the obviously logical theory. And what I just said that, didn't I say that?
Yes, you did. You said that. Don't you agree, Lieutenant?
I'll check it out.
Good.
Excellent. Oh, excellent. And you will keep me informed.
Yes, and I'll call you.
Ah. Oh, by the way, may I suggest you refrain from disclosing our suspicions to the media? It would better suit our purposes if the murderer thinks his dastardly deed has escaped detection.
Good thinking. I was just about to mention it, the media.
Ah, Watson.
Oh, and on your way out, don't talk to anybody and put that disguise back on.
Yes, of course.
I don't want anybody to know we've been conferring here.
Ah, yes. Hook, Watson. Thank you. Ah, by the way, you can keep the nose. I have another at home. Thanks, Mr. Zuma.
Well, now, what's the big emergency? Everything was going great, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, Jay. You will have to excuse me. I'm in a terrible hurry.
What about my welfare check? It's been 3 weeks already.
Call me at 10 in the morning. Shirley, take my calls. See you later, Mr. Spiner.
Miss Watson, got a moment? I'd like a word with you.
Well, you sound very official.
I'll get right to the point. You seem to have missed calling in some of your cases yesterday.
Yes, sir. I know, sir. I'll see them today, sir.
I've warned you about getting emotionally involved.
I'm not emotionally involved.
Nevertheless, you seem to have been spending an unconscionable amount of time with this man Holmes.
Oh, I always do that. I mean, on the first few weeks of the case.
According to Captain Patterson, you've even been passing the man off as Sherlock Holmes.
Well, he is.
I beg your pardon.
Well, I mean that we are what we think we are, aren't we?
That is a remarkable statement coming from a psychiatric social worker who deals in split personalities. You're supposed to help your cases cure their delusions, not encourage them.
Look, Mr. Spiner, I knew Holmes before he went before. And he was a very maladjusted man. Now he's a very effective man. He has a useful purpose.
Miss Watson, if he suddenly doubted he's Sherlock Holmes, would you try to persuade him he is?
I don't know.
Well, you better hope that never happens, because if it does, you're fired.
Hey, would you get a load of that? It's Sherman Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Huh?
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah, well, I hear you've been playing the full deck. Yeah, well, what's he doing here anyway?
It's all part of his therapy, McCloskey, letting him hang around working policemen.
You're putting me on.
Sergeant McCloskey. From now on, that's Sherlock Holmes. You understand Sherlock Holmes?
Sure, Lieutenant. Anything you say.
Get this to the plaster guys for those tire marks. All right, guys, hold the work. When you hear pull out, hold the work. Come on, fellas, pull out.
Lieutenant, I came as soon as Mrs. Hudson gave me your message.
Listen, Holmes, they removed the body, but I figured you might want to take a look around the wreck before we towed it away.
What happened?
An ex-con, a guy named Lloyd Ballinger, died in this wreck sometime last night. Now, ordinarily, I wouldn't be called in on a thing like this. They'd just write it off as a routine accident. But Holmes here has got that coroner jumping all over the place since the Kegel autopsy.
There's a connection?
Yes. The coroner said that Ballinger could have been strangled in addition to his other injuries, maybe with the shoulder belt. There's no telling for sure.
Rick Amos.
Ain't any cigar butts, if that's what you're looking for. We ain't even sure if the car was pushed over the edge.
Oh, it was pushed over all right.
How do you know that?
Observe, Lieutenant. It's in neutral. If he had driven over, it would be in gear.
Yeah. Ballinger was a bunco artist on probation. Nothing much in his pockets. I found that clipping in his wallet. It's an editorial criticizing the judge for giving Ballinger a 2-time loser probation.
I guess there's no way of knowing what's missing.
Wrong. There's something very plainly missing. Observe the business card.
Consumer Research Corporation, Strathmore Building, Lloyd Ballinger, president?
Knowing Ballinger, it's got to be some kind of front.
Yes, perhaps, but even a front has a door.
So what?
The ignition keys are in the car, and this would appear to be Mr. Ballinger's hotel room. But wouldn't the president of a company have the key to his office?
Is that what the murderer took, his key?
Not necessarily, but I think we should pay a visit to the Strathmore Building without delay.
Looks like somebody cleaned the place out.
Yes. Or perhaps never moved anything in.
That fellow Ballinger rented it a couple of weeks ago and paid a month's rent in advance.
You never saw any kind of business activity around here, huh?
No, sir. My office is on the main floor. I don't get up here often unless I'm called for.
Well, thank you very much, sir. We may have some questions later.
I'll be in my office if you need me.
I don't get it. It ain't much of a front for a con man.
What do you think, Holmes?
I think we were wise not to publicize our suspicions about the Kegel murder. Seems our man thinks he got away with that one and has struck again.
But what's the connection between Kegel and Ballinger?
So far, a very terminal one. They were both murdered in the same manner. Lieutenant, you suggested that this office might have been used as a front. No doubt. But Ballinger could have been fronting for somebody else when he rented this office. Somebody who prefers to remain anonymous and who kills the people who can identify him after they have served their purpose. Lieutenant, the door. Watch it now.
Can I help you folks? Where'd you get that key? Mr. Ballinger gave it to me.
If you please, Lieutenant. You work here, sir?
Yes, that's right. I work for Mr. Ballinger. My name is Himmel. Did Mr. Ballinger send you, ma'am?
Oh, I just follow him.
Do you mind my asking who you are? Klinger, LAPD. And this is, Go ahead, Holmes. Talk to him.
You see how frivolous it is to jump to conclusions, Lieutenant. No one took the key from Mr. Ballinger. He gave it to Mr. Himmel here.
Yeah, how do you know that?
You'll observe, Lieutenant, that the office key is in the midst of the other keys on Mr. Himmel's key ring. If he had just slipped it on last night, it would have been the first key on either side. Huh? Now, just what did you mean, Mr. Himmel, when you asked this lady if Mr. Ballinger sent her?
Well, that's my job. She would be the first.
The first what?
The first lady Mr. Ballinger sent me. It's about time, too. Yeah, well, you better tell us all about it.
Yes, you seem uncomfortable. Please, sit down, Mr. Himmel.
Thank you. Is there something wrong? You answer our questions, and maybe we'll answer yours. Now, what kind of business is this, and what do you know about Ballinger?
Oh, not much, really. You see, I own a coin-operated laundry, and Mr. Ballinger came in to see me a couple of weeks ago, and he told me that he has this consumer research firm, and he had a big contract with a leading detergent manufacturer, and they wanted to know why housewives use certain detergents, and he thought that I would be a good man to interview them because I'm in the coin-operated laundry game, you see.
And you say this lady's been the first to come here?
Yes, that's right. And that's strange because Mr. Ballinger told me he's going to pay me $50 a day just to come in here every day at noon and stay until 5. But this is the 8th day. But Mr. Ballinger told me that he was going to find the housewives and send them to me for interviews. So, you see, I haven't done anything wrong. I just sat here.
Mr. Himmel, who takes care of your own business while you're up here?
Well, it's not much of a business, not very lucrative. That's what made Mr. Ballinger's office so appealing.
But you don't close up to come here?
No, my assistant looks after the place.
How long does he work for you?
Well, that is a strange coincidence. Just a few days before Mr. Ballinger came to see me, this fellow walked in and said he wanted to learn the coin-operated laundry business. There isn't much to learn. You know, soap in the machines and making change and kid around with the customers.
Yeah, and I dare say this chap agreed to work for nothing.
Why, however did you know that?
And that he is minding your store, so to speak, at this very moment, and has been minding it for you whenever you came here.
Yes.
Come, Lieutenant. We haven't a moment to lose.
What's it all about?
The Red-Headed League. Surely, Watson, you remember the Red-Headed League?
Oh, yeah, the Red-Headed League.
What the hell
hell's the red-headed leak? The red-headed leak was a scheme to keep a shopkeeper out of his shop for several hours a day, while a gang of crooks tunneled from his basement into a vault next door. Mr. Himmel's assistant was in league with Ballinger.
There isn't any vault next door to my place. There isn't anything next door. Just a building under construction.
Now, we shall see.
The guy in the laundry's the mastermind.
No, I doubt it. That would be dirty work. The man behind all this would be above all that. What the devil is keeping this elevator?
Hey! Nobody's keeping it, because we don't have any. And stop ringing my bell, will you?
Sorry.
Maybe we should take the stairs.
Excellent idea. Excuse me, gentlemen.
Down.
Mr. Himmel, how long have you been absent from your shop this morning?
Not more than 2 hours. Why?
Observe.
Oh, no.
Oh, I say. Well, it's obvious from this deluge that, as I suspected, Mr. Himmel's underpaid assistant has fled.
Oh, dear.
Have you a basement?
Around the corner.
Let's go.
Yeah?
Just a minute, Holmes.
Let's go.
I hardly think that'll be necessary.
What is it?
Dirt. Dirt. Yes. Yes, these cartons must have come in handy for carrying out the dirt.
Good heavens. I better take a look.
That won't be necessary, Lieutenant. He isn't in there. The fellow has done his job and departed, I venture. Yes, that's why Ballinger was no longer necessary.
He must have just finished. He was here when I left.
But, Holmes, this tunnel only seems to lead a few feet to an empty lot next door.
No, not quite empty, Watson, as I noted on our arrival. And no doubt with a security guard on duty in that contractor's office at night, one could not have dug from the surface without attracting attention.
Dug what?
For what was buried there?
What was?
The $500,000 Kegel stole, unless I miss my guess. All right. Oh, sorry. Let's be off. Ah, yes, here we are. If you follow me, I think I can illustrate my point. Pardon me, Watson. There we are. Ah, yes. You'll observe that this is the future home of the Valley branch of the Fidelity National Bank, which is the firm that Mr. Kegel embezzled.
Kegel worked in the home office.
Yes, precisely. So he would have been in a position to have known these building plans and seen this rendering. You will notice that the tunnel in Mr. Himmel's basement wall would end just about under here and over there, under what is intended as a flower bed, or any other area that would not require deep digging. Kegel fully expected to serve time in prison, and that his ill-gotten hoard would remain undiscovered until such time as he was released and could dig it up himself.
But then he told somebody, and that somebody killed him and went after the money himself.
And got it. Or at least his confederate got it.
But who did Kegel tell? We've cleared everybody who was trying to make a deal with him.
We must not dwell on failures, Lieutenant. We must press on. Now, what name did your obliging employee give you, Mr. Himmel?
John Smith.
Oh, great.
Did you, by any chance, know where he lived?
He made no secret about it. I called him a couple of times at the Magnolia Motel.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Well, there's no hurry, Lieutenant. I don't think we'll find Mr. John Smith at home.
But why not? He can't know he's under suspicion yet.
On the contrary, he must have felt that Mr. Himmel might stumble upon that tunnel at any moment. And there's a very real possibility that he read of Ballinger's death in this morning's paper and suspected, as we do, that it might not have been an accident. It may even have occurred to him that the man for whom they were both working was responsible, in which case he is in great peril, since that scoundrel tends to dispose of his henchmen after they have served his dark purposes.
You mean so they can't identify him?
Quite so. I rather think that Mr. John Smith decamped as soon as he got his hands on the money. However, Lieutenant, his motel room may provide further enlightenment. Let us repair thither.
Repair what?
The Magnolia Motel.
Open up, please. Open up, please.
Lieutenant, I suggest we go inside.
I don't have a search warrant, Holmes.
True, but I have the key from the manager. Huh?
Nobody home, all right?
Yes, I suggest we search the premises.
Well, looks like you're wrong this time, Holmes. He hasn't moved out yet.
I didn't say he had, Lieutenant. Merely that he wouldn't be here.
That's what he said.
He was apparently in an even bigger hurry than I thought. And has fled without returning to pick up these few things. I assure you he will not be back.
I'll get the fingerprint boys out right away.
To a motel room? Well, there must be 1,000 different prints here. And a man like ours would be careful to wipe off everything he handled, especially this morning, if he thought he might not be back. Tell me, Mr. Himmel, would you recognize this Mr. John Smith if you saw him again?
Of course.
Can you describe him?
Yes, he was a little over 6 feet tall, very strong.
Helpful when engaged in tunneling.
And he had a very distinctive head of hair.
Red?
Come now, Watson. This is a different case. Pray continue, Mr. Himmel.
His hair was brown. What made it so distinctive was that it was very curly. You know, what they call an afro, though he was white.
Yeah, not too many whites with afros. Listen, Mr. Himmel, would you mind coming down to headquarters looking over some mugshots?
Certainly.
Capital idea, Lieutenant. Though I suggest you show Mr. Himmel photographs of bald-headed criminals and have one of your police artists sketch an afro on any face vaguely familiar to Mr. Himmel.
Why bald-headed?
Because our Mr. John Smith was quite bald.
But Mr. Himmel just said that...
He wore a wig, Lieutenant. Observe the lavish array of toiletries he indulged. I suspect that Smith was a rather vain man.
He dressed awfully well, and he smelled just marvelous.
Yes, precisely, and all very expensive. Colognes, mouthwash, manicure kit. Not a single hair tonic, not a shampoo, not a comb, no brush. I think we may safely assume that Mr. Smith has no hair.
Come on, Mr. Himmel, I'll show you some bald-headed mugs, and I'll have the artist sketch on an afro.
Wonderful.
The cologne or the aftershave?
The deduction.
Oh, that. Elementary, wouldn't you say?
No, but you would.
Quite. Let's be off, Watson. The closet.
Right.
Shall we leave by the front door?
Capital.
Good, Sheriff. Come in, Mrs. Hudson.
How did you know it was me?
You occupy the apartment next door. Every time you open or close your front door, this picture tilts. And since it tilted an instant ago and your knock came but a moment later...
Well, I'll try and be more careful closing my door. If you try and hold that fiddle down, the neighbors are complaining again.
Oh, my apologies. I regret they got you out of bed on my account.
How did you know I was in bed?
Because I can hear your alarm clock ring through the wall. And I haven't heard it yet this morning. And it's due, right about now.
All right, I'll keep it under my pillow. Bye.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Any word from Lieutenant Tinker yet?
No, nothing yet.
I won't be able to spend any time with you today.
Oh, sick patients?
Yeah, sick patients.
Yes. Holmes here.
Listen, Holmes, I just called to say thanks a lot, but you're off the case.
What's happened?
I got a line on that man.
Oh, I take it Mr. Himmel was able to make an identification?
Yeah, finally. Small-time hood, guy named Vince Cooley. I'm putting out an APB on him. Yeah.
Lieutenant, we got another smoke bomb warning.
In a minute, all right? In a minute. Now. Where was I?
Lieutenant, I'd very much like a word with this man Cooley when you pick him up.
Sorry, Holmes, no can do.
But, Lieutenant, this man is not the killer. He's merely a pawn, as were the two others. His life is very much in danger.
Well, we'll find out about that when I pick him up. Now, look, Holmes, I don't want you to think that I'm ungrateful for all the support you've given me in this case, but I'll take it from here.
As you wish, Lieutenant.
What's the matter?
I'm off the case, so to speak.
I'm sorry, Holmes.
I would like to have seen this case through. It had points of more than passing interest.
It's so unfair.
Perhaps the lieutenant was right. Perhaps I never would have solved this case anyway.
Why do you say that?
There are moments lately when I doubt my powers, Watson.
But you solve much more difficult cases.
You've always overestimated me.
I don't think so.
What do you think?
I think that you can solve this case.
So do I. Yes, but not idly chattering. What was that man's name? Cooley. Cooley. Vincent Cooley.
Do you know him?
Quick, Watson, the morning paper. It is. Yes, Lieutenant Tinker said something about Cooley, and I know I saw it in this morning's paper. Here's an item. Yeah.
There it is. There it is.
Ah, yes. Would you be so kind as to read that for me?
Cooley trial today. Vincent Cooley goes on trial this morning in Superior Court before Judge Clement Harley for arson in connection with a fire that gutted the Napoli Bar and Grill last December. Cooley's been out on bail, and last night told this reporter that he intends to act as his own attorney and enter a plea of guilty, throwing himself on the mercy of the court in hope of getting probation. And I thought Lieutenant Tinker said there was an APB in this man.
That there would be an APB. You notice that the charge is arson. And Lieutenant Tinker is in robbery-homicide. I regret to say that crime is rampant in our society, and the interdepartmental communications in our hard-pressed police department is not the...
Holmes, do you think this man is going to be in court?
Well, if he talked to a reporter last night, why not? And if we hurry, we may be able to talk to him before Lieutenant Tinker realizes... forgive me. I presume you have your duties.
What duties?
Your patients.
What patients?
Good show, Watson.
Aren't you coming?
Coming? Yes, of course I'm coming. Superior Court, Division 141. No, that's not it.
There it is.
Right. Good.
Superior Court, Division 141, County of Los Angeles is now in session. The Honorable Clement Harley presiding. Please rise and face the flag. Be seated.
There's our man. Come, Watson.
Holmes, we can't interrupt a trial.
Hasn't started yet. Mr. Cooley.
Yeah?
I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, sure you are. I'm Al Capone.
It was John Smith at the laundry.
So what?
The police are looking for you. We found the tunnel.
What's the charge? Illegal tunneling?
What have you done with the money?
What's he smoking and where can I get some?
Look, Mr. Cooley, he is really trying to help you. If you gave the money to the man who got you to dig it up, your life is in danger.
I don't think so. Who are you, creeps?
You no doubt think you'll be safe in jail, but I assure you...
I ain't going to jail, baby. I'm walking out of here a free man.
Since your ticket is with an airline that has only international flights from here, it's obvious you think you'll be safe out of the country. You're wrong, sir. You are in great peril.
Are you people attorneys?
No, not
Your
exactly.
Honor.
Witnesses?
No, Your Honor. If I could
Please, Your Honor,
explain...
I am Sherlock Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson. We have some
Very
information for the
amusing,
court,
but
sir.
this is a courtroom and not let's make a deal. Now, if you're friends of the defendant...
Ain't no friends of mine, Your Honor.
If it please your lordship.
It does not please my lordship, which I am not, and it does not please this court, in contempt of which you very nearly are. Now, if you wish to remain, you may sit in the spectators section and be quiet.
But, sir.
Bailiff!
Yes, Your Honor?
Remove these people.
Your Honor, we'll go sit down.
Very well, but one more outburst and you will be ejected.
Yes, sir.
And bailiff, have that man remove his hat.
Remove your hat.
My hat? Oh, yes, of course.
Case of the People versus Vincent Cooley. Are counsel ready to proceed?
Ready for the people, Your Honor.
I don't understand it. Mr. Cooley looks very unperturbed.
Maybe we made a mistake.
Mr. Cooley, is your counsel present?
I'm my own lawyer, Your Honor.
Mr. Cooley, as I explained to you when I set bail at your arraignment, that is a very unwise move. As I have often said, a man who acts as his own counsel has a fool for a client. However, if you insist, the court will not object, although I would prefer you to have an attorney.
Lieutenant Tinker will surely be here any moment. I must talk further with Mr. Cooley.
Holmes, please, please.
At your arraignment, you pled not guilty to a very serious crime, arson in the first degree.
Yeah, well, I'd like to change that plea to guilty, Your Honor.
Your change of plea will be recorded. You realize, Mr. Cooley, that in pleading guilty, you may be sentenced...
It suddenly strikes me as significant that our two murder victims were also criminals like Mr. Cooley.
Oh, so was Mr. Ballinger. He was out on probation.
Yes, precisely.
Have you anything to
Both
say
Kegel and Cooley were out on bail.
Yes, Your Honor. I think the extenuating circumstances in my case call for probation.
I see nothing in the record here.
I speculated about insurance and bonding companies, bank officials, the police, even the underworld.
However,
but I overlooked another interested party who could press Kegel to disclose the whereabouts of that money.
Give me a minute.
Of course. You remember the news story of Kegel's death and that editorial that clipping Ballinger had in his pocket.
Isn't very long.
They also had something very much in common.
And I think we'll recess for 15 minutes.
Don't panic, it's just a smoke bomb. Everybody stay where they are.
Cooley! What the hell's going on here? Holmes!
Are you all right?
Yes, quite. Those shots were meant for him. They missed. Hit his head on the table leg.
Holmes, what's going on here?
He saved Cooley's life.
Huh? Very possibly. See to him, will you, Doctor?
Who, me?
Cuff him, Kelly.
The bailiff fired those shots.
Whom?
The bailiff fired those shots. I saw him.
Why, you're crazy. Just a minute, you. Give me that gun. You're under arrest.
One moment, please, Lieutenant. I think you'll find that his gun has not been fired.
I tell you, I saw him.
You saw a figure in a bailiff's uniform, but I assure you, it was not this bailiff.
Holmes is right. This gun hasn't been fired.
You'd better round up every bailiff in the building, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Just one moment, Your Honor. I don't think that'll be necessary. Our phantom bailiff has cleverly taken advantage of the recent smoke bombings, and he is still with us in this courtroom.
Where?
Right here, sir. See?
Holmes.
Oh, I don't think the judge will mind, do you?
No.
Judge, this gun's been fired twice. Read him his rights and book him.
My congratulations, Judge, on a most ingenious scheme. You almost eluded detection.
Never mind, I know my rights.
Holmes, what's it all about?
Only a few minutes ago, I remembered a news item about Kegel. It mentioned he was due to go on trial here in Judge Harley's court. The editorial Ballinger carried in his wallet was critical of Judge Harley for granting him probation. And this morning's news item, Cooley, also out on bail due to appear in the courtroom of Judge Harley. The judge pressed Kegel to tell him where the money was hidden, promising him probation and probably a share of the loot. And after getting what he wanted, murdered him. And then followed suit with Ballinger. The judge made the same promises to Cooley, and as we have seen, had every intention of murdering him. Lieutenant, would you be kind enough to ask Mr. Cooley to join us?
Kelly, bring Cooley in here.
Then it was the judge who threw the smoke bomb.
Undoubtedly got the idea from the crank who's been setting off smoke bombs at police headquarters. Kicked it out from under the bench when he rose for the recess, then dropped behind the bench himself to quickly disrobe, emerge in the uniform of a bailiff, and fired at Cooley. And in the confusion and smoke, retired back behind the bench to get back into his own robes.
Amazing, Holmes.
Elementary.
How do you like that creep? He tried to kill me.
Yes, I quite agree. Now perhaps you'll tell us where the money is. It will go easier with you.
I gave it to him last night.
Where?
I figured him for a double cross, so I wouldn't meet him at his place. I figured to leave the country after the trial, like I told you.
And intended to blackmail him out of the money at some convenient future date, no doubt. And from a safe distance. But no matter. Where did you meet him last night?
Right here in his chambers. I didn't think he'd try anything here.
You underestimated him. He tried it right here in court. You may take Mr. Cooley away.
Kelly, get him out of here.
Yes, sir.
And close that door.
His story gives me the last piece of information we need.
To do what?
To recover the embezzled money. Now, the moment I entered this room, I was struck by the lack of symmetry of the volumes on these bookshelves. A judge's chambers are his own very private preserve. Now, you will notice that these sets of legal volumes are of equal size. 6 books on each shelf. Yet this set extends much further than the other 2. I think an examination of these volumes may be very much in order, Lieutenant. There you are, Lieutenant.
An old dodge, to be sure, but very neatly done. I think it is reasonable to assume that we will find all of the money Kegel embezzled in these legal volumes. The criminal code. Very appropriate. And now for Exhibit A, if you intend to build your case from the beginning. If you recall, our man used a cigar holder.
Yeah, I remember you saying something like that.
Under the circumstances, I think we'll be forgiven if we help ourselves to a Barcelona.
I think I got him cold.
Yes, I prefer a pipe myself, but I would like one for a souvenir. I do hope you'll forgive my self-indulgence, but as you know from Dr. Watson's memoirs, I am somewhat given to the theatrical.
I got him cold. Well, listen, Holmes. I'll go in and do the paperwork. You don't have to hang around.
Don't worry, Lieutenant. You'll get all the credit.
Well, that's not what's important to me, Doc. What's important is that justice has been served.
Yes, that's certainly consistent with what he told the reporters at the courthouse today.
Well, we waited in the car.
Lieutenant, I think you're about to be smoke-bombed again. Hi there, fellow! One moment, sir. Have a word with you, please. The only outsider that regularly enters and leaves police headquarters without attracting attention is this gentleman. I think if you check his schedule, you'll find that his delivery dates coincide exactly with the recent smoke bombings. On my previous visit to your office, Lieutenant, I noticed that the new bottle of water he was carrying on his shoulder was not quite full. No doubt you noticed that the chemical smoke bomb the judge exploded in his courtroom today was a colorless chemical in a plastic bag like this one. I say.
I'll take care of this, Holmes, sir. Read him his rights and
Watson, this cork, a new addition to my souvenirs, huh?
Well done, Holmes.
Ah, thank you, thank you. It's a good thing no one was beneath that. By the by, Watson, Isaac Stern plays the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto to Philharmonic tonight. And as music has charms to soothe the active mind as well as the savage beast, I shall be happy to stand treat for 2 box seats, a small token of my appreciation. And then perhaps a midnight spot of steak and kidney pie at some convenient thought. What say?
I'd be delighted.
Good show, Watson.
Will the real Sherlock Holmes stand up? It is, of course, Basil Rathbone, and the original detective returns to 5 next week in Dress to Kill on Monday at 2:20. Well, stay with us here on 5 for our afternoon movie, as a criminal on the run befriends a young woman in his attempt to retain his freedom. The Lies He Told is next here on 5.